Sorry, give me 1 second. All right, you got to see me actually have to exert some authority over my dog. Okay, let me share my screen. Feel free to make fun of me for the number of windows I have open. So let me give you some background information about, like I said, the next 10 days. Most of this information I'll send home via email either tomorrow or Friday in a letter. Some of this information is relatively new, but I want to give it to you now because it provides some important details about how we think we set up best for April 19th. So let me just take you through a chronological steps for the next 10 days. So we're having this meeting tonight. We will, like I said, we're recording this meeting and we will post this meeting on our YouTube page sometime tomorrow morning. Also tomorrow morning, we'll be sending out a survey to everyone. The survey will ask you to inform us of your intention either to come back to school and attend every day, or to either remain or to shift to fully virtual instruction. Look, we need as much data as we can. It helps us to prepare. It helps us to move forward. I don't want you to think of this as a binding contract. I want you to think of it more as information sharing so we can have a really good idea of what to expect on Monday, April 19th. I think that's the most important piece. Next week happens to be the end of the third quarter. Tuesday is the last day of the third quarter. Wednesday begins quarter four. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week, we're going to have fully remote instruction. So all students will attend school remotely. They'll attend their classes remotely. This will give us an opportunity, and I say us, the administrative team, the custodial staff, and pretty much everybody else who can help us around the building to make sure that our school is as set up as possible, right? Every classroom, to make sure that every desk is in the right place, to make sure that every desk shield is secured appropriately, to make sure that the lines that are down the center of the hallway are where they need to be, that we replace any that need replacing or add where there need to be added. Check every sign, every detail that we can check to ensure that the school is ready for opening on April 19th will help us ensure that we're going to have a successful opening and, well, hopefully, and I'm confident, safe and orderly return to school and the safest environment we can possibly have. Next Friday, two things will happen. There'll be school. We will send out, there's going to be an assembly schedule that'll be sent out by tomorrow or maybe by Friday, the assembly schedule. The assembly will be grade level assemblies, and it'll be run by each of the assistant principals, allowing students to see the presentation that you're going to see tonight, and to make sure that we are messaging to students exactly what we need everybody to do in order for us to have, again, a safe and orderly environment, the safest environment as we possibly can. Also next Friday, teachers will be remote, but they'll be in school because they're also going to be creating seating charts. And we're going to cover seating charts a couple of times, but I want to make sure I have this also loaded up front. The seating charts are going to be important, and it's going to be important that students follow along with their teachers when they tell them where they have to sit. This is going to be important information should we end up with a positive COVID case. I'll try to be optimistic. Should we end up with a positive COVID case and we have to quarantine students, we will have to be able to draw an imaginary 6-foot circle around a positive student and scoop up students who are within 6 feet in every classroom, and those students will have to be quarantined. So it is critical once students get back to school on Monday, April 19th, that when they go to class, that they sit where their teachers assign them. We reviewed this earlier today with teachers. So that gives you some information about what will happen over, like I said, really the next 9 days as we get towards April 19th. April 19th, we'll open school, and I'm excited actually for this to happen. I know, any change comes with some anxiety also. At the same time, there is nothing really like the pulse of a school full of kids. There's just nothing like it, and so to have that back is pretty exciting. And I'm confident that if we all work together, as we have all year, that we will manage our way through this and through the early days of it, which will feel somewhat bumpy, and we will get to find our footing once again. So most of what information I have for you is not going to be very new for many of you. I know there are some students on this as well. And so for students, a lot of this won't be new for you either. When we built our program back last summer, we built it in such a way that it could endure with ease, moving students in and out. So you've experienced this already, right? If we run the same schedule period 1 through 6, whether it's A day or a B day, whether it's the blue team or the white team, whether you're fully virtual or you're hybrid, we run the same exact schedule every single day. So that won't change. We will not need blue team and white team days anymore. And so we will just run our regular schedule, but that won't be a big change for you at all. So let's go through some of this. I may go a little fast, and I apologize. Again, not all of it is new. So listen, everything that I cover tonight is dependent on our ability to work together. Everything. You need to depend on us, and you need to have trust in us that we're going to work our hardest to have the best interests of your children in mind. And we need to be able to trust you and the kids that we're going to follow these basic rules that everybody is aware of by now. So number one is you must wear a mask in school. We've had great compliance all year long. It hasn't been perfect. I don't think I'm going to make an expectation of perfection because we'll fail, but we've had great compliance all year long. And when students have broken compliance, they have only needed to be asked to correct if their mask has slipped below their nose. For example, they have only needed to be asked. We have had no instances where we have had to deal with students who are refusing to wear masks. It just hasn't happened. I'm really happy to be able to report that. And we have to continue that as this is going to become even more important. Teachers may offer mask breaks at their discretion. We have had that in place all year, and we will continue to do that. The best place to take a mask break is outside. More about outside a little bit later. No vents. We say gators are discouraged. So that is true as well. Students who come to school and need a mask, we have masks available for every student. Entry procedures. We started this year and we're going to continue it with grade level entrances. This will be new if you've been fully virtual and you're coming back. This will be new. It's pretty self-explanatory there. Grade 9 main entrance, grade 10 secondary entrance on ground floor, et cetera, et cetera. A-wing doors for grade 11, rear CAF doors for grade 12. We're going to check IDs, and I skipped number 1. You must complete the home health survey. It is, and students, if you haven't been doing this, if you're not fully virtual, you flash the thumbs up hopefully you got a thumbs up and you come to school, you flash it at the door when you enter, and that is how you gain entrance every single day. Students who don't have the survey filled out either do it at the door. In some cases, we've had parents who have done it already, text the picture to their children, or they have to check their email. Sometimes we have to help kids get to their email. If none of that works, we do take temperatures at the door, at every door, for students who still don't have access to the home health survey. We've had anywhere from 85% to 90% compliance with the home health survey every day since we've started it and since we migrated to the current home health survey. So my hope is that we can continue that or maybe even rise. So we have some rules about where we want students to go at the beginning of the day. I'm going to go to the last bullet here first. Don't rush to get here early, right? I mean, students who arrive really early, that creates congregational areas and opportunities, and we'd like to keep that limited. So if you start period 2, please come period 2 or right at the end of period 1, as opposed to coming in period 1. I know that that creates a problem. I know that there are students who want to come in early and get work done. It's a little more challenging than in years past because of our limited seating capacity in areas where you might have been used to going. So we ask that if you can, if you start late, to come late. We're using the cafeteria auditorium in the main gym. We have seats that are marked in both the auditorium and the main gym. The cafeteria is set up at 6 feet. And so we ask that students use those spaces if they're in school before the start of the school day. Classrooms, we have been cleaning and sanitizing classrooms each night. All desks and surfaces wiped down with disinfectant. Same with the cafeteria and the commons. And in this case, we'll include the gym and the new gym. Both are going to have desks and chairs in them as well. And we have on our screens around the school lots of information about COVID on a Google slide going all day long. That includes encouraging frequent hand washing as well. By now, I'm sure you all know that there are desk shields. They were installed over break. I know that they are difficult and can be an impediment. And I think it's going to be the thing that we're just going to have to adjust to over time. I don't want to put a positive spin on it. It's just an adjustment for us, for everybody. I did my first observation this morning in a classroom with sitting behind the shields myself. And yes, it's challenging, absolutely. Nevertheless, students must sit behind one. It would be hard to find a desk without one. So I think that'll be easy. And as long as you listen to where your teacher has you seated, it won't be a problem. Bullet number 2, as I've already said, sit in your assigned seat, please. That's new for Schreiber. I know that it's new, and I wish it wasn't. As teachers always maintained the discretion, and oftentimes they allowed students to sit wherever they felt most comfortable. I look forward to a day where we can get back to that, but for now, we're going to have to move to this model. Please stay in your seat. Don't mingle in class. Students may not leave class during the period unless there is an emergency. I'll hit that in a second. Again, mask breaks, and the best place for that will be outside. Now that the weather is nicer, I am certain that teachers, as they did in the beginning of the year, some teachers took classes outside for mask breaks. Again, some, not all. I'm sure it's coming. We'll get back to leaving the classroom in a few minutes. Social distancing and safety protocols. I know that the building is going to be far more crowded than it has been all year. but we still want to encourage social distancing whenever possible, whenever possible. To this extent, we have tried to keep the hallways. We started the year with one-way hallways. That wasn't so successful for us, created complications for students, often who were headed to class. So we have added taped lines down the hallways, and we ask students to stay to the right, much like driving a car, stay to the right, and we want kids to travel in one direction. Okay, I'm just skipping through some of the bullets. This is an important one. Come to school with your devices fully charged, please. Chromebooks, cell phones. We are discouraging students using or charging during the school day. Again, we're looking at times and places where students traditionally congregate. And at an outlet is one of those spaces, a classroom or elsewhere in the building. That's a place where we would find students together within really close proximity, inches. So we're asking not. Students should bring earbuds or headphones for their Chromebooks. Again, I know this may pose a problem for some, but we've been doing this throughout the year. There will be times, undoubtedly, where there will be teachers who are working from home because of their own quarantine, in the way we have had all year long. And students in school have been asked to attend those classes, the Google Meets, for those classes in one of our common areas, the auditorium, the library, the commons, the gym, depending on what time it is, and use earbuds because it helps them hear in class. In addition, and I'm sure some of the students have already experienced this, lots of teachers in class will have students join the Google Meet. Their students in class join the Google Meet so that students who are fully virtual and in class can work together as part of a group. And while I anticipate the number of fully virtual students will go down, there are still going to be students on the live stream every day. And teachers are going to want to have students work together. So having earbuds, headphones for class, effective as well. All right, again, some of this is a little bit repetitive. We're not using computer labs this year. I think that'll, well, we'll see what happens next year, but with every student having a Chromebook, they may become superfluous. Masks must be worn during passing time. Masks must be worn at all times, unless you're eating. Students may not leave class during the period unless an emergency or bathroom is needed. We have been using a sign-out process for student use of the bathroom. Some teachers have just pencil and paper for students to sign out. Others are using a QR code. This helps us manage the number of students using the bathroom. This also helps us in case there is an issue with quarantining and there's a student in the bathroom, it's easier for us to track. In case of emergency, student needs to go to the nurse. Historically at Schreiber High School, students could just tell their teacher they're going to the nurse. In this time, we are asking that no one do that, that teachers call the nurse and inform to make sure the nurse's office is available for a non-COVID related issue. More about the nurse's office coming. Okay, free periods, unscheduled time. Students may not gather or walk in the halls. Right, we want students to go to the auditorium, the gym, outside. There will be numerous tented areas outside. There are going to be 3 areas with tents up, all in the front of the building, including the circle. This, by the way, is very exciting news. We have been wanting the circle tented for quite a while. This will make it usable, at least in warm enough weather, which I think we'll have for the balance of the school year. There'll also be a tent over the new benches that are just to the right of the main entrance. And they'll be tenting just outside the A wing. If you are just outside those A wing doors, there'll be a tent there with chairs, I might add. So that we want students to use those areas. We want them to to be used if students have free periods. They'll be available throughout the school day. So please do that. Cafeteria and commons are reserved for students who must eat lunch. The library has a capacity limit. Please adhere to it. Look, we get great compliance, and I don't worry too much about this. It goes back to, if you're told that the library is at capacity, please honor that, and you'll have to move to find another location. So we appreciate, that level of compliance. Montfort lot is off campus, so students may not gather there. Lunch. So we have a number of spaces available for lunch. The cafeteria, the commons, the auditorium, the main gym. That includes desks and chairs that will be on the floor, and it includes space in the bleachers. The new gym will have desks and chairs in it as well. Did I leave it? I think that's, and outside, of course, aforementioned tenting. So we want students to spread out throughout the building. The chairs and desks in all the indoor spaces, all those seating spaces are at 6 feet apart. There are no desk shields in the cafeteria, the commons, on the desks in the gym or the new gym. Those will all be 6 feet apart. They've been 6 feet apart all year long, and we have had, again, excellent compliance and great success thanks to the staff that works in those areas and to the students who have been cooperative all year long. So we know it's going to be more crowded, and nevertheless, we need these rules to stay intact for everyone's safety. Food is available from the cafeteria. Deliveries will not be accepted. We have not been accepting deliveries all year long. We will continue that practice. Only juniors and seniors can leave campus, as has been our practice. Students may sit in the bleachers on Sieber Field, that's by the track, or any of the tented areas. Attendance. I don't think this is too complicated. A lot of this is the same. Students entering late sign in at their AP's office. Students will not sign in first period if their class is canceled. If you don't have a first period, you will not sign in at AP's offices. Just go to your first class. And please, again, as a reminder, if you start late, please come late. If you need to sign out, you must sign out from AP offices. And this would be the area where I would normally say, communicate. Please call AP's offices, please call or email. The more information we have, the easier it is for us to serve your children. We have not been using lockers all year, and we will continue to not use lockers this year. Again, this is a congregation issue. So there will have to be, if there are coats and books, students will have to carry both. I don't know that this has been a problem throughout the year. I haven't heard any complaints about that. Okay, we have a limited number of bathrooms open. They are the new bathrooms in the A, B, and C wings, and the gender neutral bathroom will also be available. Everybody knows the A and B wing. Some people don't know that the C wing is right outside the library. Bathrooms will be locked during passing and open the 5 minutes into the period and then close 5 minutes before the end of the period. This is a congregation issue, a serious congregation issue for us, which is why we've taken this step. Again, not typical of Schreiber High School. I hope one day we get back to typical Schreiber High School. It's just not where we are right now. In addition to that, this helps us track should we have to do contact tracing for students who are also using the bathroom. Teachers on hall duty will staff and regulate the bathrooms. 2 students will be allowed in the bathroom at a time. My hope is that we're still successful with that. This is something that students will need to know, and the assistant principals will review this. And it's something that the teachers already know, so that we should not have a constant flow of students leaving classrooms to use the bathroom. Okay, there's some other information, certainly masks. There are spots on the floor in the hallways outside the bathrooms that are spaced, appropriately distanced for students to stand on, and there are teachers at the bathrooms to open and close, lock and unlock those doors. Okay, many phys ed classes will be in alternative locations. We'll be using the main gym and the new gym for lunch periods, and locker rooms will not be in use. Students must come prepared, as explained by their teacher, and the phys ed classes will be using outdoors for the balance of the year, as often as they possibly can. As we've said, no food deliveries will be permitted. Security will be on site, as is normal. Please stay 6 feet apart. As often as, again, wherever possible, we want social distancing. Please wear masks outside on campus if you're not eating. This is an important one also. Over the course of this year, I've seen improvement. We have students who go outside, into the circle. They're not there to eat lunch. They're there because they want to be outside. If you're not eating, keep your mask on. Keep your mask on. Please stay socially distant. I've seen improvement over the course of the year on this issue. So let's try to keep that going. As I said before, students may not go directly to the nurse's office. Please go to class and ask your teacher to call first. The nurse's office, we have a regular nurse's office, and then we have a COVID-19 room only that's right next door to the nurse's office. Students who have symptoms after being evaluated by the nurse go to or are placed into that room as we await parents to come and pick children up. So it is really important that teachers call first so we know the nurse's office is available. Clubs and activities. Clubs may meet with 10 students or less in person, a socially distant manner. Other clubs are meeting using remote services, and the spring musical will be done remotely. I know we're scheduled to film a piece for that on Saturday, so I'm excited for that as well. Okay, using outdoor space. This is where we get repetitive, and I'm sorry for being repetitive. But if we say this over and over and over again, we like to think that we'll have the opportunity for greater success. Students may use outdoor spaces in a socially distant fashion. You must wear masks when not eating outdoors. The circle, the bleachers, okay. Tents will be set up as we explained earlier. Was that the last slide? All right.
Yes, that is the last slide, Dr. Pernick.
Thank you. I got nervous. All right, so I'm going to stop my share, but we're going to stay on. It's 7:35. I'll stop the share.
Dr. Pernick, there's an attendee who looked like he called in who has a hand raised, just as a heads up.
Oh, can you not access? I see there are a few. So I would ask that everybody use the Q&A. It's just going to be easier for us to manage if you can write your questions, and then we can write answers back to you. So I'm just going to read a couple of there are some questions now. And please continue to use the Q&A. So the question is, schools have successfully managed COVID spread by maintaining desks 6 feet apart. Why are we changing an approach that is working? Yeah, we have had a successful school year, and I am happy about that. you know, it's important for us not just to look at ourselves, but to look around what's happening around the region, what's happening around the state, what's happening around the country. And so this isn't unique to us. We have seen schools been managed through this process being under 6 feet as well, and we'll continue, I think, to do that. So why now? I think there's a lot of answers for why now. I know Dr. Hines has answered during board meetings and other meetings as to why now. You know, I'm happy to share, you know, my concerns about why now. And the first I would say is, I don't know that there is a perfect date to choose when to bring students back. There are schools and districts all over Nassau County who have started the school year all in, and probably every month between September and April have morphed into all in. So I don't know that any of them picked a better date than we did. We do know that there are more students struggling academically at every grade level than we have had in recent past, and that's a serious concern for us. It has become more difficult for us to get into contact with students if they're not in school every day, or in some cases not in school at all. It has become more difficult. And so we're really concerned about student academic progress. Let's just put it there. And so first, you know, I guess pole in the ground is academic progress. How can we help support kids for the remainder of the year? One of my goals was, let's get students back as close to the start of the fourth quarter as we possibly can. We came really close to the actual start of the fourth quarter, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done before the school is really where we want it to be. So we got close, but the closer we get to the start of the fourth quarter, the sooner we can provide academic intervention for students who need it. The second is, what we also know is that there are students who struggle socially and emotionally. And we believe that when students are back in school, we can do a better job of providing services for all students who might be struggling. That doesn't mean that, again, we're going to capture everyone, because there will still be fully virtual students. It just means students coming to school every day allows the assistant principals, guidance counselors, social workers, school psychologists, and every teacher to see the vast majority of their students every day. And that helps an awful lot in being able to provide support services where needed. This has been a really complicated year for these reasons. And so that's just a few of the reasons why I think it's important for us to be doing this now. I'm just popping up again. Again, I'm just looking at, you know, some of the questions about if it would make more sense when Nassau County is not an extremely high risk. Again, I'm not saying that you know, that we have the best answer of all the possible answers. I'm not going to say that ours is the best. Ours is ours. And there are a whole bunch of others if you go around the county and everywhere else. So, you know, this is just the time that we have chosen. So I can't say another day would make more sense or less sense. I don't think it works that way. Okay. AP exams, to me, College Board, yes, students will be 6 feet apart. The answer to that, I'm sorry, I forget you don't see all these questions. The question is about AP tests and the College Board requiring that all students be 6 feet apart. We will meet that standard. Again, we'll be using primarily the large spaces for AP exams, and those desks are already 6 feet apart. Then we'll be using some classrooms, but we'll only have it so that students are assigned to desks where they're 6 feet apart. And the question is, did I understand Mr. Miller correctly? I guess Mr. Miller answered a question that there are classrooms with less than 3 feet social distancing between desks. I want to point out that that is not new. So that's the answer is yes, but the answer has been yes to that question all year. We have a few classrooms, and this is okay to, this. We have a few classrooms where that sort of social distancing hasn't been possible all year, mainly in family and consumer science. And we have been dealing with that all year long. Now, we've had fewer students and we'll continue to monitor that classroom in particular, but there are a few others that, depending on the number of students who are in class, where it's crowded. And again, if ask your kids, especially if they're in grades 10, 11, or 12, they've experienced classrooms with lots of students in them. And so that shouldn't be totally surprising, but this is not, this is something that we've been dealing with all year long. I don't have information about it. The question is, would there be a concert for orchestra? I don't have answer for that. In terms of hallway passing, the CDC says that under 10 minutes being closer than 6 feet is okay as long as they are masked. That's not just the CDC that says that. The Nassau County Department of Health says that as well. And we anticipate to be able to meet that expectation as well. Again, I want to just reiterate, and I'll do this over and over and over again. I know that this is challenging, and I know that it's hard to think about. There are other questions. I'm just making sure that they're getting. There's actually one I want to talk about out loud. One is, will remote students take the Regents remotely, or is it in person only? So there is no digital option for Regents exams. I sent a letter home earlier today in your email about Regents exams. I probably should have included that there is no digital option, but we want to provide as much information for parents so that you can make appropriate choices. So let me just say out loud part of what the letter said. There are only 4 Regents exams being given in June. There'll be none given in August, by the way. June will only have Algebra 1, Living Environment, Earth Science, and English Language Arts. These exams, the students who take these exams, the scores will not appear on their transcript, as all the students who take and pass this class, the class leading up to it, will be granted an exemption by the state. And Regent scores will not be used as a grading factor for classes. There will be in-class finals, and those will count towards final grades and final averages. Okay, so just to reiterate once again, no digital option. There is no appearance on transcript, and no calculation as part of a course grade. So there's a question about AP exams. I'm sure that's being answered now, but I'll say it out loud. The dates for AP exams are set by the College Board. I know we've sent them home. If you can't find them, you can just Google AP exam dates for 2021. There are 3 different windows for AP exams, again, set by the College Board. They start the first week of May, and the 3rd window, I think, ends around June 8th or 9th, or if I hit a Saturday there, I apologize, but I think that's where that last window ends. All but a few of the exams have a paper and pen option and a digital option. The paper and pen exist in Windows 1 and 2. The digital is, Kristen, is it only in Window 3, or is some of them in Window 2?
First window is all pen and paper. The second window is a little bit of pen and paper, a little bit of digital. And then the 3rd window is fully digital. Okay.
Students who attend every day will take paper and pen, and the students who are fully virtual will take the digital versions of the exams. Again, there are 4 or 5 exams where there is no digital option, AP Music Theory and the AP Languages. Certainly students who are fully virtual in those classes will be allowed to come to school to take the paper and pen, as that is their only option. Will the in-class exams be similar to the Regents? It could adversely affect the student's grade if the exam made by the teacher is considerably more difficult. Well, I totally agree, it could. The first thing I can tell you with some certainty is that the exams will be shorter. Regents exams are 3 hours. We're going to maintain an hour-long exam. These exams, generally speaking, will cover material taught in the 4th quarter and not for the full year. Now, again, I say that's a general. I don't want to mislead anybody and say that there won't be a question from a material that's covered, it was covered earlier in the year. But the expectation for the finals is not to give a Regents-like exam, is to give an assessment that typically would happen at the end of a quarter and use that to factor in to the end of the year. So I hope that answers your question and allays any fears. We want very badly to make sure that we are not doing harm to any students. That's important to us. So we hope that this is a successful endeavor in terms of the final exams. If you should want to opt your child out of Regents, just send an email to your grade level assistant principal so we can make those adjustments. Yes, there will be finals in AP classes. The question was, will there be, I'm so used to the chat. Will there be finals in AP classes? I don't want to say across the board, some of that will be teacher driven, but AP exams don't factor in ever to course grades. And so many of them will indeed have final exams. It may not, senior classes, that may not happen. Okay, so there are no more questions, just almost a clean getaway, right? So there'll be more information. The question is, during finals, will students be required? We'll be running our final exams during our regular school day. So we'll send more information out about finals, but we will not be running a finals schedule. We'll be running a regular school day. So the short answer is yes, students will be expected to be in school. Is opting out of a Regents exam this June the equivalent of taking and passing the exam? Well, so it's not the equivalent of taking and passing the exam. The state is offering an exemption. So I would say it's neither taking, passing or failing. It doesn't mean any of those things. It does not preclude a student from earning an advanced Regents diploma. Those determinations will be made locally and based on course grades for areas where students have received exemptions. We'll send information out. The question is, if no finals week, when's the last day of school? We'll send information out about finals as soon as we have all of that information put together. Teachers plan to stop reviewing for AP exams once May comes. How will you ensure do no harm to students who attend school and risk being quarantined just prior to the first exam administration? So what's the best way for me to answer this? I can't guarantee that that every student can take an exam in the first administration window. I couldn't guarantee that last year or the year before or the year before that either. Right? There are always conflicts every year with AP exams. It's one of the reasons College Board has 3 testing windows every year, not just for this year. And so I can't guarantee that there is no one that is going to be quarantined. Just like I can't guarantee that a student doesn't get the flu in May and have to wait 2 weeks to take their next exam. This happens every single year. I know it feels different this year. And so we're just going to have to trust that this happens all the time. But I don't have a plan where I can ensure that no one gets quarantined. If you opt in to take the Regents exam, will the grades show up on your transcript? No Regents exam grades will appear on transcripts. I want to be as clear as I possibly can. So if your child takes the exam, it will not appear on their transcript. Is there an option for non-virtual kids to live stream right before an AP test to avoid the higher risk of quarantine, which would prevent them from taking the test in person? So the best answer I have right now for that is this. All year long, we have had students who we expected to be in school who ended up on the live stream. All year, it's been a constant. I've been in, I don't know how many classrooms I've been in so far this year, 70, 75, maybe, and including today. And in every single classroom, teachers have seen students on the live stream who they expected to see in person, even though those students are listed as hybrid. Nothing bad has happened to those students. They've received instruction. They've been allowed to participate in class. We don't intend to change our practice. We don't intend to change any of what we have been doing, which is, in my opinion, been being as flexible as we possibly can when it comes to trying to meet the needs of students. We're going to continue to do that. We're going to manage our way through the school year. So I don't object if, as a parent, you feel you need to make a choice. I won't judge you for it. I promise you of that. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, it's now 7:54. All right, you know what? Next time I'm just going to end the meeting. Okay. I had a feeling this question was going to come up. Given that the Regents will not be on the transcript, what benefit is there for students to take the Regents? I would offer you just my personal opinion, although I don't know that it has that much value right now. Look, I think for some, the benefit lies within the test taker themselves, lies within every parent. I just want to give you the information, but I can't make the decision for you. So the information that I could provide for you is the grade won't appear on a transcript. The grade won't be used to factor into grading for classes. And no matter what happens, it will not stop your child from receiving the appropriate endorsement on their diploma come graduation time, advanced Regents, mastery, whatever it is that they earn. The state has sought to it that no students will be harmed in that way. So all I can do is give you that information, but in determining if there's a benefit for your child, that's a decision you're going to have to make on your own. All right, folks, I am going to stop the recording. I just have to figure out how to do that. I think oh, here we go.